this we can go on. And I'm getting chew, and I don't know, maybe I'll go blow my nose. I should do that on the actual show, though. It's funnier. All right, they're not here yet, but piss on them. Ba 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 ba. Ba, 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 da, da, ba, ba. Let's see how this looks. Oh, really? You didn't save? You can do this to me now? Stop. Stop saving things as a fucking JFIF file. I know it's funny when I sneeze. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Take a lap, girl. Take a lap. Dabbing on us. That's what we need. Hey, it's 40. Ugh. Oh, man. Oh, oh. I'm a fan of this glove emoji y'all got going on there. Every other weekend warrior. Yeah, thanks. This is just the pre-show. Just a matter of opinion. Not too bad. Jesus. I'm blowing my nose. Got a lot of new people tonight. That's disappointing. We don't go on for half an hour. I'm just lazy, so I'm going to stream our pre-production. Because fuck it. Shouldn't be watching this. Heathens. Yeah, it is pretty dank, though. I made that. Yeah, how are you doing, Jesus? Thank you. Fuck me too. Yeah. I hope. What are you doing later? Come on, don't do that. Learn to spell. It's Fuckyou, comma Dan. Come on, do it. Every other weekend warrior. Don't be a pussy. Swear. Either say the shit that'll get you banned off of Twitch like a fucking boss, so I'll respect you. Ah, that's funny. You're real fucking funny. I'm impressed with your shitty. You know what's funny is you're like strolling around Twitch as a fucking rando, and you came upon me, and you're like, I better watch this. Do you know who I am?
You're like a bear man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like a half man,
True
half
Whore
bear,
and I
half
follow
pig.
each other. Oh, okay. And True's not here. He's off. Yeah, you do, Jesus. I hope so. You know everybody. I don't know. Somebody's talking shit. And they're like, I follow True. And if you don't follow me, I'm gonna cause True to lose a follower right now.
You got snubbed, buddy.
Fuck him. I follow you too. Do you? What's your name? I don't know you. That's my purse. That's my man pussy. My kids aren't here, so I can swear earlier. It's awesome.
Back my purse.
Yeah. Oh, just 1 second. I'm going to Twitch. Go to Twitch. Start a fight in my chat. Do it. I command you. It's the COVID special. The world is anarchy. Go. The communists have failed. Yeah. So what's up, gangsta?
What up?
I don't know. I'm
I
kind of
thought you were
being.
going up early, so I was ran out here to get.
So you decided to come at the time the show has call time. Good for you. You know who didn't? Everybody else. Motherfuckers in pre-show. Oh, hey, we should talk about this. I think we should talk about this. Geez, can we talk about this, fellas? That's the topic I like. Then their asses don't show up. Leave us to talk about it.
That's a very scientifically accurate version of their voices.
Yeah, I could totally do their commentary. Ready? Ready? And yeah, what we need is more, a little bit more H.R. Giger, and Henrik Master is one of the old ones.
Capitalism so great.
Y'all go be gay with your dad. Okay. If you're fans of the town, is everybody here fans of the town? Because if suddenly like, all right, you're fine. You know, I just want to point out Nick thinks he's clever because he's ruining his show now. I've been ruining this show since I started it. Once upon a time, he gave a shit. He wasn't in it for the irony.
I am the show.
Yeah. They call me Little Dickus. Yeah, I just want to point these things out. I don't know. I'd have to send you a Twitter DM with an angry picture, but I can't apparently. Why not? Did they ban you? Baja. You're Baja?
He meant boo-hoo.
Are you the one with what day is today? Pooh asked. Is that you? Because if so, respect. Oh, you're one of the Dick Prol guys. Oh, I don't. That's True's thing. I don't know you. Mostly because I keep to myself.
He's driving me out of my mind.
Hey,
What?
I have beef with you.
I didn't do it on purpose. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't control
Oh,
other people's decisions.
bullshit.
I did no such thing.
Bullshit. Hey, Dick
I
Proles,
said,
when are you coming on?
I said, I said, I said, where do you work? She said,
Yeah,
the unemployment office.
beep.
I said, oh, I know
Don't
someone.
out me. The show is live.
Oh,
Beep. I work at the Beep Factory,
oh,
where we all work at the same Beep Factory.
yeah, beep in that factory.
I don't
Chub.
know. True's got the damn Dick Proles on my ass. He's mad because earlier I was like, bro, slow down. Don't shoot your shot. And he's like, did he make fun of my dick? So then he sent
Well, I
his
mean,
posse after me. I don't know.
what?
I'm being overly aggressive. I have a lot of testosterone going right now. I'm kind of retarded.
Yeah, you're just firing off. Let's go.
I'm mad at you though.
I didn't do nothing.
No, bullshit. Bullshit. Because then she texts me and says, oh, I just bought a car off of Boop. And I'm like, Boop. And she's like, yeah, Boop. How do you know Boop? From your show. I recognized his voice.
Oh God.
You do have quite a
Listen,
distinct voice.
if any of you,
You do have
not you, but any of you, you know who I'm talking. Chat. any of y'all
That's the word you're looking for.
meet me, you didn't fucking meet me. You don't know no one.
How else you gonna be how else you gonna be the celebrity bae?
I'm not celebrity base. You're going to
You
be celebrity bay.
No,
I got
it's
bad
kind
news
of
for you, Eve.
you. No, it's
It's
you
it's
because
all you.
no, it's you because Jesus is the grandma fucker.
Well, well, it's tough to keep up that
Hey man,
Jesus is doing hard work.
if you do one grandma, then all of a sudden they label you.
Okay, I agree with you. If you do one grandma, that shouldn't get you the label. Now,
Listen,
how many is
you
it
pay to
before you
fuck
get the
one
label?
grandma.
Yeah, how many is it before you get the label? Because he's up to 35. I feel like it's okay to say it now.
3 or 4.
Okay. Oh, okay, so I can call him that then. Thank you for permitting me to be right yet again.
Someone's spicy today.
I am feeling rowdy. You know what it is. I like when you saw me in chat trying to be like, okay guys, what are we gonna talk about? What's our topics? And then
Out the
John,
window.
I don't have a topic. And then
I
Gangsta, I don't have a topic. Then you, topic. And then True, topic and 85 texts later.
Oh God, I love you guys
That's the
dearly. You
true
are
way.
wonderful. You're a source of joy and inspiration in my life. Genuinely,
Please
like
shut the fuck up.
sometimes I'm at work and my phone doesn't stop binging, and I just need to turn it off so
Yeah.
that I can do my job. You know,
How else
at
you gonna
the
look like a master pimp?
at the murder
Yeah.
factory that we all work at.
Oh, in 25 minutes we'll go live and we'll do the real show. And fucking John won't show up, and True will show up at 10:14 and be like, "Hey, I gotta tell y'all about a bunch of shit." And we'll be like, "True, been live for 10 minutes."
And he'll be like, "What do you mean? What's live?"
Well, fuck
Like
you,
I don't
Jesus.
mind.
I can be sentimental whenever I want.
Like it's fine. I don't mind.
And then
Those
John's
get
gonna
off
come
my
in.
back.
Well, actually,
John's gonna come in just to tell you exactly why you're wrong.
yeah. From an anarchist perspective,
I thought he gave up that ghost.
he did because the internet anarchists were being perverts.
Big surprise there.
Well, yeah, it's the group of people who like you can groom. Like if you're 52, you can groom a 51-year-old. You know what I mean? It's not just like deceptive sex practices. Like they specifically are obsessed with using the word grooming because they just learned it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's fun and very specific.
yeah, and it's like, oh, please stop. You're talking again. No, I didn't die for this shit. You're right, you didn't. And yet this is what happened. See what martyrdom gets you? See what it gets you? Look what you did. That's your fault, not ours.
Get you a smiley doom face heart.
Wait, I got 500 round currency in that game you don't like, gangsta.
Oh, you got 500 imaginary points.
Yeah, just like in every other
Nice.
game, I got 500 imaginary points. Let's not
Good job.
pretend. Let's not pretend that literally every
Cool.
game doesn't hand out imaginary points.
True. You're way too
Well,
early.
now,
What's up, fellas?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
way
you
too
need
early.
you need to be showing up at like 10:15. We made this joke already.
Yeah,
That's usually how it goes, but
it
I don't
is
know.
usually how it goes. I mean,
Maybe shit's getting more under control down here. I
shit
don't
is
know.
getting more under control down here.
Everybody that possibly could have some kind of horrible tragedy lately has had it, and some of them had it at my house, and some of them I took them to resolve the tragedy, and maybe they're off tragedies for a little while.
That would be nice.
Maybe they're like,
That doesn't
what
sound
if?
right.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
I
But
gotta,
I'm gonna continue to assume that maybe they're off tragedies for a little while.
okay. I gotta warn you that I am really, really, really obsessed with doing your voice right now.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
is that how you're choosing violence with True?
Oh, I'm just doing a friend of mine's voice. I'm
that's not
doing
enough
a
y'all.
little
That's not even
spicy.
close.
Shut
like
the
3 more
fuck! I could
y'alls.
do your voice too.
It's
Hey, would you like to
mathematically-
have a cup of tea? Would you like to see my guns?
I do have a
What?
nice cup of tea here.
The one
Yeah.
for me is mathematically correct, like in the
Oh,
structure.
yeah.
Like so it's just an amount of time like before he gets like the tone and everything else.
Yeah. Well, I have a higher pitched voice when I'm doing impersonations because subconsciously I'm insulting your manhood.
Right, right.
As opposed to in your face, where it's the same.
I mean
Yeah.
that's working
Nah.
too. So like
D,
over time
all
I'm
right, D.
I'm
You know
perceiving that
what?
this will develop.
You know what? Go ahead and do your damn
Huh.
voice. Do your impersonation of me right now. Do it.
All right, let me think.
If you fail, I fire you.
All right, somebody's got to say
Shipping.
fuck. No, there's a way to get there. Like this is one of those where you know how actors say shit like that they used to have a word that they would
Yeah.
use to get into like if a
Like-
guy wanted to do like Northeastern, he would say burglar. Like
Yeah.
burglar. Burglars broke in there.
There's a
They broke in
dangerous
there.
Dan word.
Right? Like,
There is one
is.
word you could
There's
say.
a word. I'm trying to fucking think of what it is.
Ah, I didn't know we paid for that service.
I'm trying to fucking think of what it is. Oh fuck.
All right.
I
Anybody
can't.
else? Anybody else want to do? Anybody
Is
else
it-
want to do Dan's voice?
Is it? But
Yeah.
like with a hard K.
Yeah.
I think I just killed Drew.
Right, hang on.
He's really.
Fuck,
acting
hang on.
crazy. Yeah. No. Go ahead. You have the
All
floor.
right. Somebody.
You got the whole balls in your hand. You got them both balls in your hand. What?
All right. What if somebody was like what if somebody was like, have you seen that new Shonda Rhimes show?
What the
And
fuck?
then it's
What
like
the fuck is Shonda Rhimes?
I don't know.
like the television producer that makes all the like it's like the young lawyers and it's a diverse cast and they're all trying to cover up a murder, or the one before that was fuck, like it's made by POCs for white people is what it is. Okay, so like what if somebody was like, have you seen that new Shonda Rhimes show?
So it's
And it'd be
TV.
like yeah,
so
and
it's
then
current TV.
and then the response is like, what? Why would I want to watch that? That's just another way for white women to appropriate black culture. Okay, like that's the closest I can get. Like
That's
you have to be.
you're
You have to
doing.
be.
You're doing John's dialogue with my voice.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because I went too soft on the white women.
Yeah.
Like if there are white women in the sentence,
Giggity.
they will get a slur, and and it will be discussed what type of group they're trying to vampire like life energy from. Like they'll get a slur. It won't be just like that. That was more like John
what slur?
dialogue.
Hold on. How many anti-women slurs do you think I say?
How many
not
Hitlers do we do a
women.
show?
Not women. You love women. We all love women. But you know,
Well,
I was reaching for an example of white women doing something obnoxious.
They have very delicious blood.
I'm a little
Just drop that fucking nut. Yes, the blood.
I think I'm a little a little bit offended here.
I'm trying to think of another group. Okay, the way it goes is this is just another example. Pitch increase of group goes here,
Wait, I can do it. Do you want to
Trying
hear my Dan
to-
impression?
Yeah, let's hear
and
your
then
Dan
pitch
impression.
and then pitch decrease whatever the group is trying to
Okay.
do.
Ready?
Medium pitch okay question
I
mark.
cast Bit Blast into Blood Braid. Do I win yet?
Okay, just insulting someone's Magic the Gathering combos does not count.
No,
As an
hang on.
impression of them.
I haven't been told I was wrong yet.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
I feel like you guys are missing the big one.
Oh, sorry. I cast Bit Blast into Blood Braid into Lily. Did I win?
That's closer. Closer. It's I'm gonna bit blast your wall and flip. Oh, it's a blood braid. I will cast that cascade trigger into Maelstrom Pulse. I'll blow up your J swing for 3. Do I win?
the Blood Braids to get rid of the Jace. Come on.
No, the blood break has to do face damage. That's why you flip into the Maelstrom Pulse or the Lightning Bolt to kill the Jace. Motherfucker, I'm rusty.
I
I
feel
ain't
like
that
I was the
rusty.
closest.
Oh, I like
Certainly in shit I actually say.
You guys ever see that episode of Adventure Time where they're playing Card Wars and it's that pig
I
and
flew
the
the
lands
pig.
yeah, and the
Oh, yeah,
lands are
pig.
the lands are cornfields and he's like eating all the cornfields.
Yeah.
Like the shit that they decided that the cards were actually owns. A lot of
It
episodes
really
of
does.
that
I'd play
show
that game.
own really fucking hard. Like I don't know, I guess that show used to get plenty of credit from an adult audience, but when you have to go
Oh,
back
they
and watch
still
it with
do.
your kids, when you have to go back and watch it with your kids, you're really like, oh man, I'm glad they picked this.
You didn't watch Adventure Time, Gangsta?
Oh no, for real, did yeah,
It's
totally.
Yeah.
excellent. I like Dungeon
Come
Train. I think is
along
maybe the best
with
one.
me. A white
Regular show.
boy and his dog
Have you
doing
seen that
shit
one?
in the apocalypse.
Oh,
It's weird
Adventure
definitely
that
Time.
very,
I'm
it's
still
very white people
white
entertainment.
because the
It really is.
human race was destroyed pretty much. So interbreeding would change my skin color to something a lot more tan.
On a
I will
scale of
say
what?
I
On a
missed
scale
it.
of 1 to Bill Cosby, where does Tyler the Creator stand?
Who the fuck is Tyler the
Uh,
Creator? I feel like
You
I should
know,
know that name.
Earthquake.
Yeah,
Like
What?
there's good stuff. That track, Earthquake, good track.
Tyler the
Really,
Creator is
it's really weird.
perennially popular on the internet because he does funny things.
Right. Like it's like hip hop videos but like in a very avant-garde style.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
if he was white, you could easily point the finger and be like this is edgelord offensive on purpose shit. But
Oh
it
no, you
always
still
has
can.
I mean, yeah, you can, but that those black cultural signifiers to me as a white dude, like I'm hesitant to do that because I'm like do more. Like I wouldn't ever want that guy to stop doing that shit because even if it offends people, I'm still like, but it was weird though. It was fucking aggressively weird, and I'm still thinking about it. Which I never feel that way when white dudes are edgelording because I know all those dialogue trees like already.
Hmm. Hmm.
You guys do too. Like, there's only so many. It's like the conservatives only have one joke thing, but it's like white teenage edgelords are always driving the car in a certain direction. You know, joke wise.
What's a liberal's favorite drink? A wine.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is it?
A wine.
A Hawaiian?
Wine, a tall glass of wine,
I know
Mhm.
those dialogue trees already.
a whole
Oh, that
box of
sounds like
wine.
that sounds like a
Jesus.
very bad Family Guy skit.
If my
I
people
mean,
who are
that
called by my name humble themselves and
sounds
pray
like
and
a right
seek my
winger.
face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. I will save all, I will forgive you all of sin. So if you're
I have
offering your
not
gift
heard this dialogue tree yet
at
from
the
a
No,
altar,
that's new.
and there
That is a
remember that
very
your brother
specific
has
one.
something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Bro, he's
What's
basically
this
Bill
about
Cosby.
coming in your gift?
I don't know. Hey, so I kind of pissed on the dick proles, and I have to apologize now.
What?
How?
I don't know who they were, and they were like, "Fuck you, Dan," and I was like, "You learn to spell." I totally,
So that works.
yeah.
No, they seem fine. Like, the guy that runs it, I tried to do a 3-man with him and Skirt Vonnegut a few weeks ago, and our audio got fucked up. And I didn't want to piss them off. Like they seem really nice, and we might all work together in the future. So what I didn't say was, instead of trying to record locally and go through all this bullshit, we should have just done this at Suns. Is what I really wanted to say. Was like, instead, we should have just done a 4-man over here with our reliable method that fucking works, and had Dan or Jenk run it, or just have every fuck body on it. That's what we should have done.
No,
We were
no
trying to do this.
orgy cast. You know what happened?
Exactly. Like
So
No one knows anyone's name.
if you want
they're
to
not
use
good.
no, if you want to use our airspace for a live show like that, that's fine. Obviously, you're part of it. You know.
Well, at first I was like, okay, let's do things in separate spaces. But then when we lost like 2 hours of us laughing about the tomato guy, you don't understand scale, tomato coin, et cetera, there was some good stuff on there. And then
Yeah.
we lost 2 hours of it because we were trying to record the way that we did the Patreon movie commentary eps. And fucking mine did fine, but Chris's got fucked up when he was trying to
Are
upload
you
it.
real
And
naming people again, motherfucker? Use their handle.
fuck. Okay, I'm sorry. I was in the mindset of like doing the recording. I'm sorry.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Amateurs.
He assumes we'll fix it in post.
Yeah. I don't know. Skirt doesn't like all of my jokes, so I don't. If you guys want to do it, that's fine. I'm more worried I'd offend Skirt than anything, because if you want me to cut loose, I'll cut loose. But usually I'm dry ass theory boy for a reason. It keeps me behaved.
No, that motherfucker. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think there's anything that really.
I've had my own interactions. I love the guy to death. He's funny as hell, but some of my jokes don't land.
Well, that dude is more like. That dude is more like.
And do
That's
you
a new.
think they land here?
That's a that's a
uh,
new. That's a neutral quantity for that dude, though. That
in
dude's not like. In my
fairness,
experience.
in fairness, that particular joke, really only I was laughing. I'll throw that one in the chat, and you can decide.
But that's, that kind of for me a signifier of like who I'm going to enjoy like doing this with. Like one of the things about that dude is that like if you bring that up later, we'll all laugh about it, right? Like it will eventually hit. It just doesn't, like it's a neutral quantity. Whereas there
Yeah.
are people like okay, everybody's over there grousing about that fucking Chewy the dog account got banned. Who gives a fuck? That guy is an asshole. That guy, if you go in one of his threads and you drop off something that he doesn't think is funny, then there's going to be bad reply discourse. There's going to be discourse about bad reply guys, you
Oh.
guys. It's going to be very serious discourse that's about the quality of life of people that are obsessed with Twitter. And it's very important. And people can't just come in your thread. Like, okay, like, in my experience, Skirt's not like one of those Twitter guys.
No, again, some of my if you look in chat, that's the joke that didn't land.
Let me see. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, so he doesn't want me to cut loose with both barrels.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's more like like I don't know. Some of those guys, like, and he sort of seems to come from this school. Some of those guys have certain
Triggers.
like okay, certain subjects
Yeah, where
where
it's just a no.
well they go so hard on certain subjects that you
Yeah.
assume that there's no limit for anything really. Because you're like, wow, that's in that one particular vein. This is turned up past 10 to 11, break the knob off. So if I do maybe like a 9 out of 10 and something, oh no, not funny. Okay, well, all right. Like,
Yeah, that's why I was like, you know what? That's not for me then. That's
I'm just like
and that's
too much
fine.
of a
Honestly, it's fine. It's not like the guy just still doesn't launch excellent jokes. It's not like the guy doesn't still rock. It's just like that clearly would not go as well as it is presumed it would. So
yeah.
I'm just not like I'm not interested in starting a shit fight with somebody I like over some fucking dumb thing like I wasn't received the way I wanted to be. Like
Like I guess I too much like I'm like too post like okay, I started out doing all of this stuff before I had like a big drug period. Like I did like like fucking improv and shit in high school and shit.
yeah,
And then we started doing all this acid and stuff, and I had like a long period of my life where I kind of looked at, a lot of media and art as like a psychedelic, kind of lens on it. And I was like, "Oh man, like everything is made of words, man. What words do you use, man?" And like I spent so much
Yeah.
time in that mode that like now I'm just like somebody says like the most offensive fucking construction they can possibly create,
yeah,
and I'm like I'm just looking at the power level. Like I'm thinking, wow, that's, you put those together in that order.
yeah.
I'm only offended by one thing anymore, which I guess is somebody with a bunch of money and excellent material conditions punching down on less fortunate or wealthy people. That's it. That's my one box. That's the last thing.
Well, that's just
Like-
bad comedy.
Well, yes, it's not generally funny, but like it when somebody's trying to make some kind of a joke that has one foot in right-wing propaganda, that is the only time when I start to get like, okay, you get the big hook, drag him off stage. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I don't like that shit works. I don't like that people like that shit. I don't like that, my kids go to a school where other kids say that shit because they heard a Twitch streamer say that shit. Like, I don't think there's even very much to be gained from trying to parody that shit in a very literal way, like a lot of left irony posters do. Like, I really don't even think there's much to be gained there. Like, it's all designed around, like, that concept of smearing people that aren't doing well to try to reinforce a notion of merit, right?
Yeah, totally. I don't know. I was looking at boobs, man. You lost me.
You're fine.
Woo! 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 Woo!
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in that space where people get pissed off. Like, I know they got pissed off when I said that brick thing, but that is how I look, though.
Yeah, I don't.
Do people actually get mad at that?
A couple of accounts chain blocked me.
For what?
Okay, so there is a semi-talented, maybe, I don't know, doesn't appear that unique or interesting, Twitch streamer that has recently been given a Chapo bump by having Will and Felix go on their stream. So they went from maybe 2 to about 10K. And it's a trans woman that posts a lot of like really edgy trans content on Twitter.
Okay.
And they were making some kind of a brick joke, and then somebody was like, "What's a brick?" And then they explained, well, it's a term for a non-passing trans woman. It's considered kind of offensive. And I'm like, okay, this discussion is about what this term is, and everybody in this discussion is like, we're picking the term apart, so it's not offending anybody right now. We're not saying anyone is a brick. So my post is, what if you're a cis male heterosexual that's effeminate and people call you that? Can they get in trouble? And who do you tell? Like asking for a friend, right? And in my head, like, I was laughing, like, that was a screamer to me, because that is how I look. Like, I should have just started going around in drag years ago, and I would probably have like more money, and like I might have some kind of a little performance career, because it's a lady concept that like got scrapped and given male chromosomes and delivered to Earth to live as a man. It's a drawing of a lady. Like, I've done the best I can with my assigned biological gender, but I don't think it went anyway. That is the thing that after people stopped calling me a homosexual, they started calling me that.
Did they
like,
really?
you look like a non-passing trans woman.
Jesus
Like,
Christ, that's vicious as shit.
Well, when you work in the factory and you only know like 2 or 3 other people in there that even know anything about any of this internet poison shit, that's the way that you and those people talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like, I met a guy at the warehouse that knew what goatsy was. And I was like, "Oh, cool." And then at that point he started saying shit like that to me, and I started, saying shit like that to him, making fun of him because he came from Georgia, that they all just go swimming in the fucking pig shit lagoon and everything.
Yeah. Nice things. Yes.
But I thought that post was a fucking screamer, because like why it's a cis man saying that someone said that to him.
Yeah.
And I guess the angle you can take on it is that I'm accommodating some part of their unique culture for my use in a joke without suffering the stigma and the damage that having that said to me would cause if I was trying to pass as a woman. But like, you don't know, motherfucker. I'm 39. I'm not dead. I might start trying to pass as a woman tomorrow. You don't know. You
That's
know.
And out
You
of all of
know.
us, you are the most likely to and succeed.
Yeah, it's on a list of shit that I might fucking try. And I made sure to say that when we were in pre-production because that would definitely offend a bunch of people. Like, your outward appearance is supposed to somehow be inexorably linked to, your internal journey of what you think. No, I don't think so. What if I just wanted to go around like Prince or David Bowie in, sassy little fop costumes all the time?
Yeah,
That's
nobody gave
very
them shit.
effeminate. That's very effeminate. I'm a very effeminate guy. And, if you saw David Bowie in the wrong light, you might be like, hey, ma'am,
Well, that was
can I
kind of
buy
his
you a drink?
goal too. He wanted a gender bend on purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the old black and white TV interview when he's a fucking teenager. He was on some show in England where they were trying to do culture hysteria about boys with long hair. And the interviewer is like, to young David Bowie, the interviewer is like,
I
don't
know what he
you,
said. Actually, I know what he said to young David Bowie. I saw that interview. You know what he said?
huh,
This is the
mistaken for a
Sons of
girl, isn't it?
Trier star-studded COVID-19 super sexy special.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which was
We got
fucking
David
weird.
Bowie on?
No, but it was fucking weird that that's what the interviewer said to David Bowie in the 70s. That
It
was,
was odd.
yeah, it was fucking weird. I'm Dan. I'm joined by I'm joined by John Sinclair.
Yes, sir.
I'm joined by Gangstacles. Gangstacles, paging Gangstacles.
Allegedly, we are
Pa-
joined by Gangsta Queez, the
He'll
artist formerly
randomly
known as
show
the
up
Rich.
at some point,
Allegedly.
so don't worry too much. I'm joined by somebody I'm very mad at, Jank Engels.
I am 1/10 the man the ghost of David Bowie is.
Fuck, we're already on the show. We can't talk about whatever that was that happened that you guys were talking about.
No,
Fuck,
we
I'll
already
ask
did
you
that.
later.
And then
I was already told I wasn't allowed to talk about it.
yeah, and yet, we got to start. We got to start tonight with an HR meeting, and I need my HR assistant, True Horror.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
yeah.
You got the pen? You got the
I'm
notepad?
trying. I got
All
it.
right.
I'm trying to
I'll go
work
to the
on.
punishment corner. Sorry.
No, 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 no,
I'm
no.
trying to work on.
No.
I'm trying to work on the thing that I was assigned to work on by HR, which
Yeah.
is to actually be less paranoid about internet use and identity and privacy.
Yeah.
And what I did was I posted one of those things where you ask me anything, and like 3 people asked questions, and by about the 3rd question, I was like, "Oh my god, this is fucking horrifying.
What
Why is that the answer? How did you know to put that? That's not fucking. No, you didn't. This is fake.
Hold
This
on.
guy's a fed."
Hold on. What about an ask me anything? And you just send me
Oh.
asses.
I think they have that.
Do they?
I bet if you type that URL,
Okay, so what I want you to do, if you're listening to this like 10 weeks later and you're like, who the fuck are these people to think that they can put on a special? If you're listening to this like 10 weeks later, or you're here now, I want you to just take a photo of your ass and I want you to mail it to the address of Boop, and that's in Boop. So that's Boop Street in Boop, PA, and then go ahead and just send those all to Jenk and tell him to eat shit.
Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah. And again, his address is Boop. Don't worry, True. We'll fix that in post.
that's good. We wouldn't want to like dox that dude because, like I'm saying, I just
Yeah.
I'm trying to get over all this paranoia and stuff, but I
Wait,
can't.
who wouldn't we want to dox?
Oh,
Boop.
Jankobot.
Whoa. Whoa. You're dropping some harsh language there.
I have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
For several weeks now. It just gets hotter and hotter, and I just get more and more tired, and I'm just saying things.
All right. Well, watch it. And you don't tell people what I put in the group chat in song form anymore. I don't know what you said to her, but now I'm getting text about my not quite publicly safe audio files. Did you reveal the contents of those?
No, you do literally every week whenever you sing on the show.
Did you do that?
Did you consider that?
Did you do? I didn't ask about me. I asked about
I don't
you.
I don't know. I don't know if
gonna
you've
be like-
noticed, but you literally can't stop yourself from
Did-
singing through half the show.
Did
I thought-
you do that? I want you to answer my question, you goddamn evasive honky rat soup eating motherfucker.
Niet.
Good. Now we're gonna keep it that way. Nobody. But
Okay, I'm figuring it out now.
nobody.
I'm figuring it out now. When you had said this
Like-
show, I thought you meant this
Boop!
show.
You thought I meant boop? How dare
Yeah.
you, sir?
Yeah, I thought you
Accusing
meant this
me
show.
of saying that about that group of people.
I'm now realizing that you meant some other entire situation. This is like they did that subplot with Ron Johnson
Oh,
where
who do
he
you
is a
think I
jazz
meant?
singer.
Who do you think I meant?
I thought you meant that you were trying to keep details regarding this program secret from real world acquaintances, but no,
Yes.
I
That's
don't
why
think
the
so
guests
anymore.
are on the guest server, and that's why the chat is the chat, and then there's the second layer security, the super secret chat, the one
Oh,
on
fuck.
WhatsApp.
Oh shit, oh fuck.
The joke to all of this is much like the deep state conspiracy with Donald Trump, the deep state ends at the top. So like
Thank you.
remember they found out that like Donald Trump was really the reason why all that info was leaking because he'd just fucking tell people in Mar-a-Lago all the fucking time. In reality, we have our own personal Donald Trump leaking info.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Forgot about
First
that.
off,
Forgot-
you know goddamn well I have never cared about this show getting popular. Obviously, I haven't because I'm on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Disproven. I am the anti-Trump. Second off, I
There
don't
is
go
kind
to
of a
your
beat.
work and tell them shit you said in the private production chat.
There is
you're
kind
a
of
I
there
coder.
is
didn't
kind
say
of a
anything
beat.
about the private production chat.
Yeah,
There
and
is
like,
kind of a beat
again.
after you say something really awesome. There's kind of a beat where you're like, "Oh fuck, oh shit," like that's gonna do really well, and then you'll say some horrible shit. Like
yeah.
there is
Thank
kind of a
you.
little moment where I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna, yeah."
Now that we had that nasty fucking, HR meeting done. What was on the show tonight? Because I really got nothing to talk about after that. I'm done. I think it was Cenk. You had it first.
Oh, yeah. We're doing COVID, right?
Yeah. We don't have a choice. We're doing COVID again.
Yeah.
As
Again.
a nation. As a nation.
As a
It has
nation.
been decided by a larger force than ourselves democratically through millions of individuals exercising their free will. It has been decided that we are doing COVID a second time. This time there will be less resources and other ways to aid us in getting through it. We will suffer worse consequences. It will happen to more people. More people will remain at work.
Thank God. I was worried we were somehow going to be able to beat this thing.
No. This is only the second one of how
Settle in,
many.
folks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
You might as well.
so a good story for this, right, is like at the start of this, the very start, probably like January of 2020, I was having a conversation with my favorite repeat character, the coworker at work.
Oh
Sure.
yeah. The RID.
You'll all
bracelet guy.
remember. Yeah. Our RID badge.
Yeah, that guy.
Wristband. Yep.
Yeah.
Who immediately challenged me and said, America has never had a virus shut itself down. When's the last time we got shut down for the flu? And I happen to actually know the correct answer to that. It was 1915, was the influenza epidemic, Spanish flu.
Right.
And it shut down the nation for about 3 years, period. Not like just 1915. 1915 to 1918, repeatedly, over and over and over again. And apparently the correct answer was not, in fact, the correct answer. He did not want an
it's
answer.
not
It was
possible.
apparently a sarcastic or not a.
It was
It was
a
one of those
rhetorical.
questions that a rhetorical question. I didn't realize that, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's your fucking fault.
So
if you
we're
count
on to year 2 now. Ready?
if you count pre-colonial civilization, they got shut down permanently by viruses and diseases, and never started back
You're
up.
not wrong.
Never started back up, actually. It was
Nice.
a
Yeah,
permanent
I mean,
shutdown.
the two things there, like, I mean, this is what I've learned at work, is that, like, when someone talks about something political, they're just like they're just complaining. And when I say complaining, I mean it's on the level of like any political discussion is on the level of like, oh, my kid got sent to the principal's office again. Like, I'm just mad. I'm just mad at, like, things that stuck in the world. I'm not mad at something that can be changed or that I have any agency over. And it's one of those things that's in, like, those Danskin essays. It's I hate Mondays. Like, what are you going to do? It's a Monday. Yeah. Everybody hates them. Yeah. It's the same. And of course, that's ridiculous. That, there's all sorts of things we could do about this shit right now. But we've elected not to. Yeah. Or some of us have. And there's no getting around that.
Yeah.
there just isn't until... And when it comes to the Spanish flu, the thing we did, the reason we got out of it is because of a vaccine. It's because enough people fucking got it. They didn't question it at the time. Yeah. But I don't know. I hope we get past that at some point.
Do you guys want some? Do you want some stats? Everybody loves numbers.
I love numbers.
All right, guess how many? Guess what percentage of the U.S. population? Okay, so 330 million people, which is now dropping. Guess how many cases there are as a percentage of that? What do you think? What's
5.
your over/under? 5% of the U.S. Yeah,
5.
so if you were to represent the number of cases and a percentage of the U.S. population who's had COVID, what do you think it is? True has 5.
Currently?
No, total, since this all started. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's shit.
More than
that's
5.
Like 10. Yeah, it's like 10.
No, it's definitely got to be more.
You think it's more? True has 10.
I know the death percentage. I don't know the actual percentage for how many have actually gotten
that. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah. Hit me with it.
11%.
Holy shit.
That's a lot.
That's still so fucking much. God almighty. And you can put undiagnosed and uncounted on top of that.
Well, we can't use those, but as they stand, it's horrible. Yeah. Death rate 1.6%.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Of those cases will die. So it's only like it's only anyone guess how many hundreds of thousands it is?
Is it pushing 700 now?
Close. It's closer than you want it to be, but not that high.
Like 650.
It's 634,737.
You couldn't hear me.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I was hoping it was a different 1%.
Oh, hey, there's gangsta. Yeah, really. No, they're all fine, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's weird. Even the ones that say that it's a Bill Gates microchip mind control vaccine all got it. That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. They both said Bill Gates caused it, and then they all went and got the Bill Gates vaccine.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's like they want to live to the other side to buy up all the dead people shit. That's so weird.
I gotta say it's real sus that it's only taking out people who are unvaccinated.
It's weird. The deadly disease only kills people who refuse to protect against it.
Like, you think we're joking. Viewer, present or future, listener in the Twitch now, or perhaps replaying this episode in the future, you think we're joking. But go ahead and search for the many tweets and Facebook posts where the user has wondered why it is that only the unvaccinated are getting this made-up virus. Like, was it programmed to only attack the unvaccinated by the Wuhan laboratory?
Yes. They figured it out.
The disease will kill those who don't have immunity. What? Womp, 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 womp. There's a conspiracy afoot. Yeah. The final
that goes right back to what John was saying about people just complaining. Like, those words come onto the screen out of their brain with no thought whatsoever. It's just complaining. It's just
Yeah.
like
Now,
And when you offer a solution, like what you're doing is you're actually like imposing on them that their life could be different, and thus it's like their fault that things are the way that they are, which is why they like find it insulting that you've suggested something else. You've politicized something that like even to us is inherently political. Like even with taxes, they complain about taxes not as a political thing that exists. Like sure, they'd love taxes to be lower, for example, but
oh yeah.
they don't talk about taxes as if it's a thing that will be lowered. They don't talk about Social Security. These are the ones that I've observed in my time, at least. They don't talk about taxes as if they're things that will be lowered at some point. And they don't talk about Social Security as if it's something that will ever be a 100% stable thing that will pay out correctly. Instead, they talk about them like, these things suck. I stubbed my toe. That sucked too, kind of thing. And if you were to like, and you know, on some level, if someone stubs their toe and you start talking about like, you know, like how we need nationalized healthcare, they're only like tangentially related. Like I get why that would be annoying to somebody, especially if you brought that up every time they like fucking, you know, like, you know, Looney Tunes get an anvil dropped on their head or something like that. Like they somebody's like getting hurt constantly and you're like, we need national health care. Like they might get mad about that.
which, like any good leftist, I do exactly that. Yeah.
So like, you know, on
Aggressively.
some level, you can imagine. I mean, at least for me, and I think other people who are listening, or maybe not Dan, you can imagine how there is like a degree to which, like, okay, you don't talk about the political stuff sometimes, even though everything's inherently political out of like a level of politeness. But like, it's also maddening when someone like treats like, you know, Social Security being underfunded or whatever, which it's not. There's like a whole thing about that. When they treat it like, you know, if you're like, well, maybe we should like do something to fix it, and they just get fucking mad at you for even suggesting it. Like that's the thing, and that's why I've checked out of all political discussions at work for the most part.
How dare you, sir? My great grandfather died in the Social Security wars. God damn it!
That's true. He was fighting against Social Security and died.
He was desperately.
Desperately. Murdered 13 of them there commies for their Social Security. Put them down like dogs. No, here's some more fun statistics. Ready? Ready? We're going to play the game again. How many 9/11s has it been?
Well, you said it
Oh,
was
I was
600.
asking for that, and
So it's
no one heard me.
200. It's 200 9/11s.
213.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, last fun one. Do you remember how everybody said this was just like the flu? Right?
Yeah.
They compared it to
You mean-
swine flu.
You mean everyone who actively didn't listen to the scientists saying it was significantly more deadly? All of those people?
Yeah.
Every disingenuous actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone who
Okay.
just has to like knee jerk, not want an interruption to their precious capitalism. Yeah, those people. Those people. Yeah, okay.
I don't agree with calling them people.
Well, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that. I'm still gonna use the term. I understand it offends you, and I understand this is now a hostile space. You can take it with HR later.
I'm getting my stabbing fork.
Looks like Dan's gonna get his comeuppance finally, and it was worth it. Yeah. So you want to play a fun game now? So 18 months. We're a little over 18 months now, right? So it's a relatively fair performance. It's also telling that it's over 18 months and we are still having this level of a problem, unlike with swine flu, which still admittedly does knock off a few people each year, and that's tragic. But that is a far cry from being a potential civilization ender. Okay.
It's got to aim bigger.
Got to aim bigger. Yeah, it's not. It's just not trying hard enough. Now, which at this point, at the 18-month marker, who has more kills under their belt?
Jesus.
Yes, but ignoring Jesus, the obvious answer.
Oh.
Who has more kills under their belt? Swine flu or COVID?
It's definitely COVID.
Yeah, at a 3-to-1 rate.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's running up the fucking scoreboard. Swine flu Chan ain't got shit on Corona Chan. Yeah.
Like, I grew up, and you guys as well, but mostly me because I'm older.
Did you
I
grow up
grew up
though? Did you
listening to
grow
this.
up?
Yeah.
I listened to this steady drumbeat for my whole entire lifetime of every time something or someone or some force or some group or some country or whatever kills even one American.
Yeah.
I have heard this media like
America will
onslaught.
strike. America will strike
Yes.
back with the force of 10 million suns.
You're
We
gonna
will turn the
Biden- the
desert
Biden
into
threats.
Oh my
glass.
God, you shouldn't have fucking. And then
Yeah.
this like super deadly thing comes out, and the response to it is the limp dick shit, like fucking ever. Like what? Like no, this was supposed to be the big thing. This was gonna be our big moment. Like
I don't,
fuck it.
I don't know
Let's
if
say
you've
the
noticed,
Chinese.
but Corona doesn't get fixed too well or effectively for most people with a bullet. I mean,
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
it does technically cure the coronavirus, but only very technically.
I
What
mean, a
if,
lot of the early media stuff
But
tried to
we
convert
tried
our.
letting people die.
Yeah.
what do you feel like there's a part of it that's like these people are like, listen, we've all seen the zombie movies. What you do is just shoot them and move on, and then I go back to my Starbucks or whatever. You just
Yeah.
Right.
let the military purge them. How many do you think were like that?
Probably a
Oh,
lot.
not that kind of zombie movie. Oh no.
Oh
Yeah.
Like
no.
probably any young like white fascist teenager who like plays fucking like video games all day. Probably if you got their
So
real take
30%
on
of the
it.
right wing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would if you got their real take on it, they would be like, "Well, I don't have it, so I don't know why we don't just fucking kill everybody that does and put them in a big hole in the ground." Like, I wouldn't be surprised if
I would
that
just
was their
commit
take.
mass public executions.
Yeah,
That's
'cause it
always their take, though. I mean,
right.
come on.
It's like
But that's
it's like they get a slight cut on their finger and then they immediately go there.
Well,
yeah.
my back hurts. Gonna need some public executions to make this right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now I don't know. So we were talking in production. We sometimes actually do real work instead of just me screaming at everybody. And Jake, you had some stuff you wanted to talk about. What did you want to talk about?
Oh, I mean, my repeat problem with that, this sort of segues very nicely into that. I appreciate your masterful work with that, by the way, Dan.
Thank you. I like a
Um,
little bit of acknowledgement from my lessers.
yeah. I'm sure you'll get that at some point.
I will. Yeah.
So it's just the irony, of course, that very much the people who will bang their chest the loudest about being pro-life again, again, regularly choose choices that lead to actively more death.
Well, it does depend
Yeah.
on
Like,
the definition of life, doesn't it?
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, again, this shouldn't come as a surprise, and I guess in many ways it does not.
Yeah.
It's just another commented frustration of like, yep,
Like
there's an irony there.
in the 90s, I thought that the anti-abortion thing really was motivated by some kind of like real mental devotion to some kind of like close following of the doctrines of Christianity and the Bible and whatnot. But like, if I could show myself, if I if I could show myself in 1995 some of these like fight white genocide posts that we've seen, like
Yeah.
myself in 1995 would go, "Oh, it's just white fetuses. Oh, okay, they're only
Yeah.
into white fetuses." Like I at that point,
I'll be a little less. I'll be a little less cruel. All right, because
I was a kid when I
I
figured that
have
out.
dissected this. Like, there are a lot of people who really believe in the notion of individual rights, and you can't arrive at the right to life position without that as your fundamental underpinning, which is part of why I reject it. Right? I don't buy into that, but I know exactly where it's coming from, and it's harder to justify individual rights and then make the claim that it's okay to potentially pre-terminate a potential life.
yeah,
Like, that's one of the reasons I reject that formation on rights is precisely because, like, the rest of my positions become harder to defend if I'm like, no, abortion's okay, but also every human being has an individual right, because then at what point is it okay to pre-terminate a human being?
Well, we live in an era where the reality is the premise of your position on it, which is that anything that you get to do, that has been extended to you from another human being. Like your premise is correct in this reality, but they've become so adept at papering over that so they can get back to their preferred fantasy, which is individuality. I did everything on my own.
It's Mad Max.
I thought that I was under the impression that like the libertarian view on it was just that like you can at any point decide that fetuses are rent seeking and kick them out. So like, no, I mean, I'm serious. Like, I thought that was like basically the reasoning as to why they're okay with it. Like libertarians, but not people who are just like more generically conservative.
Libertarians are really split on that particular issue for the exact reason I described.
Mm-hmm.
They're about 50-50 actually. They meet the general populace here because they wrestle between the notion of you have absolute control over the property that is your body, individual rights, and every human being, even potential human beings, ought to be afforded the same opportunity at those human rights. So they're really locked in a death spiral there, and they don't have a permanent reconciliation. That's partially, I think, why they can't ever get ahead in terms of right-wing politics.
Every fragment of their whole entire conception and idea of what rights is and how you can use them and what freedom is, it's all built on the false premise that you don't need anyone else. If anything, the concept of rights is the final nail in the coffin that if you do want to be allowed to do and enjoy more stuff, you do need not just some of everybody else. You need everybody else to get their fucking shot and not spread a fucking plague, fucking dumb fucks.
Well, you know what?
Incidentally, True, my blankets should be arriving to you pretty promptly here. Don't worry about them. Just put them around the house, give them to the kids.
I'll push back on that too. I will agree that the predominant media narrative is only whites who aren't vaccinating, right? And by extension, right-wing minorities who identify with whiteness as a source of alleviation of pain, right?
Yeah.
It's according to the Hill, it's something like 40 or 50%, so it's close to half. I forget the exact number because I watched it a few days ago. But those are people who would ostensibly be like, yeah, those are just good libs too. Why aren't they vaccinating? Oh, they must not be as good as they say they are, right? That's the conclusion.
It's the money.
There's a point
where a chud gets enough dough that he turns into a lib. Whether he knows it or not, he's consuming different media, he's buying more expensive products, he's more concerned about his property being attacked by different groups now, or his identity being attacked by different groups because he has that money, and he essentially turns into a lib and everything that he may have formerly hated about the libs if he was on any kind of real working class grind to get to where he got. Like they turn into libs, and part of that is whether they tell their friends or not, they live with that much more terror of being separated from their big pile of loot and fucking hoarded wealth, and they get the fucking shot because they might need it. You might need it.
Hedge your bets.
It's almost like they believe nothing.
Really, they believe absolutely nothing except
the mental hurdles they believe to justify their wealth. Yes. And that feeling, that nagging feeling that maybe they don't really deserve this, maybe they didn't really earn it per se in the way they formulate earnings. Yeah. But
none of the rich ones would serve in the military anymore either. Once they get a certain amount of money, they can talk all the shit they want to about, God and country and everything. But if you don't have them a nice spot in fucking officer training somewhere and a nice desk job right after that, bone spurs, baby. Yeah, I can't do any regular on the ground shit. I believe in my country and I honor the military, but if I'm not making, $20K a year right out of high school in some shitty town, suddenly I value my life enough not to go try to prove some point to own the libs and join the military or not get the shot or go to a big fucking concert with no mask on.
But if it weren't for these bone spurs, I would totally have done it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. would have loved to kill some foreigners.
Now
Like-
that's like that guy from fucking I think Shinedown. I think his name is Aaron Lewis, who like got really upset that he joined Shinedown instead of going and being an army officer. So like once he was done being in Shinedown, he became a country artist and just like sings really depressing country songs about how he wish he defended the country from brown people. and like that's like that is the modern like Gen Xer conservative now. Because they exist too. They don't exist as much as a percentage the way that boomers do, but like that's the modern iteration of like you know, an Xer conservative, and I do think it is very funny, to be fair.
I'll accept that as funny. I'll accept that. No,
That
I just
sounds quite pathetic.
I went to kill some Arabs. My gun was blue, white, and red. But much to my displeasure, when I got there, they was already dead. They done had the war without me. I should have joined when I could. Okay, yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah.
They done had the war without me is the name of the song.
They done had the war without me. I won't get to see my war crimes. I have to masturbate about them.
I was gonna have a coffee company and sell you a T-shirt.
Yeah.
They done had the war without me.
I don't know. I do exist in a weird spot because I know plenty of right wingers who got the COVID vaccine, and like not even on the justification. Like it's not like I kind of expected, and I'm a little bit honestly surprised I didn't hear this one. Like they didn't just be like, well, you know, that's because Donald Trump did it. It's great. Obviously, I need to go get it, right? Because I certainly up until Biden went into office, I certainly heard libs being like, I'm not taking a fucking Trump vaccine. I got bad news. It is the Trump vaccine. He got, you know, in his own stupid way, he got off his ass and did it. Even when he had people like Stephen Miller like, but it'll do ethnic cleansing, and he was like, yeah, I don't actually buy this shit like you do though. Like
those ethnics run my chain of hotels, you imbecile.
Yeah.
Those ethnics do a lot of very good work for the Trump company.
Yeah, and as nasty as that like explanation is, like he was right. So even
no, it's freezing over.
Even a broken clock, you know, even a broken clock. Yeah, man, Joe Biden left Afghanistan. Joe Biden sucks fucking donkey dick, and he fucking left Afghanistan. That's pretty awesome. I mean, like, even a broken clock is can pull out of Afghanistan and be like, fuck you to the media. That's good. Like, Trump did things that were objectively good too. It was also military stuff. They asked him about the army, and he was like, what a bunch of dummies. They're over there dying for nothing. What a bunch of dumbos. You dum-dums. Like, that's great to say that. Like,
to discourage people from joining the army. Ironically,
it's great.
Yeah.
You know?
I wish it had worked better. But yes. I sincerely wish more people had gotten offended by that and less people were joining the army to like or private military contractors, because that's the move now.
Own the libs.
Yeah, but you know what though? If you're gonna own the libs by defunding by depowering the American like war empire, like oh no, sure, whatever, own me, right? Like now you can call me a lib, and you can just own me. That's fine.
I mean, I know a lot of veterans. We're old, but we're old. They joined during the end of history, man. They joined to go hang out on an air base in Turkey and fall in love with a beautiful Turkish woman. True story. That's the kind of shit that they joined to do. Not, you know, murder people for 20 years in a desert. Anybody who would join now, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you?
Women, folks, they join for the pussy.
Yeah, I mean, I know a guy that legitimately did, and you know, shout out, you know, like I'm not like, but you see what I'm saying? Like, no one of them would say that now.
No.
There isn't one of them that would think of anything like a romantic adventure in a foreign land before they thought of Call of Duty kill streaks, like endlessly, and drone vision on the freaking, you know, Arabs and shit. Like, there's not a single one of them that would think of see the world and be with your chums before, you know, oh, I'm gonna enforce empire, motherfucker. I worked with a guy who used to say putting warheads on foreheads. he was
Ugh.
in targeting. He was in logistics and targeting and shit, and he used to say putting warheads on foreheads.
Oh
Because
my
that's what
God.
you need.
Yeah, but he
Turns
was
out
like
they
the
can be
janitor
creative.
though.
Probably.
Yeah,
He probably heard guys in the drone room saying that phrase.
right. It's anybody who's gonna take that one out into public, who's not just saying that to get through the day, you're lying.
Yeah.
You didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. Like that's the one thing I want to caution people though is like the certainly the liberal narrative is that it's only conservative and it's only whites when like as a lot of those people get vaccinated because they have the money and they're hedging their bets. They keep up I will say they keep up the rhetoric, right? They certainly keep up the rhetoric, but that shouldn't be a surprise. Anybody who understands how social cues work should understand like, oh, they have an incentive to keep up this, tough guy rhetoric. They don't need no fucking vaccine for a fake China virus, you know. But like
Fucking,
really,
this can't be no worse than the flu.
yeah, most of them aren't. Most of it's like it's poorer people and it's mostly non-whites. Like even Louisiana, like I don't think those vax rates. I don't know. I'm suspicious of those vax rates in Louisiana. I think they're a little too low. I would
Yeah.
imagine they're lower, right? Because Louisiana has shown itself time and time again. Everyone's like, "Oh, you can't just call them all, dumb or whatever." Okay, but you can call them like ideologically and in praxis conservatives, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
you can say that they are the general person in Louisiana or like Alabama is more invested in the conservative narrative. Like
Like we
that's what
laugh
they
at
have.
people. We laugh at people like Candace Owens when they like throw these talking points out on Twitter and stuff. But like propaganda does work, and these motherfuckers have spent billions of dollars over the course of decades trying to
Don't
indoctrinate not just poor or rich people, but indoctrinate everyone that will eat that shit.
don't necessarily
And
assume
it
it's all
works.
propaganda either. They might just have a baseline belief where they believe it and it gets reinforced. Like that's not necessarily propaganda. That can be like this is the thing that always bugs me too. Like that can just be how they rationalize the facts. That can just be their epistemology. Like everybody rules that out and like, oh, look at these savages. They're so inherently ignorant. Like, no, they could just be wrong. Like the scarier thing I think for a lot of like leftists overall is, no, they just really think that way. Like
Yeah.
they really looked at the data and they think that way. So we talk down to them like they're idiots or they've been suckered. They might not have been. You can't be sucked. Like, it's like hypnotism. It's they talk about it like it's propaganda, like they brainwash them. But you can't be brainwashed into something you wanted to do anyway. Like
Yeah.
that external that external vector isn't changing your behavior. It's encouraging it, but it's behavior you already wanted to do. So I don't know why they only think standpoint epistemology works in one direction in their favor, right? Like,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I really caution you on doing that. I really like that's the feedback they get. That's the culture they're in. Of course, they think that's the way the world works. That's not necessarily propaganda. Don't treat it. I hesitate to say that. You know, they're not all slack-jawed yokels or some bullshit. Like they're people. They have their own idiosyncrasies, and that's like you're not overcoming. It's scarier to think that you're overcoming the individual than some deep state conspiracy. Because if you can just say it's some deep state conspiracy, it's the CIA making them like this. What? First off, like you're talking in conspiratorial terms. Because what does the CIA need some rando in fucking Louisiana for?
Like I would more cherry pick certain pieces of propaganda that, well, not even really like maybe more just like baseline ideas like you're saying that people always kind of held, but I would cherry pick certain ones that, given the conditions in America, especially in poorer rural communities, they're just little mind viruses that are so powerful that it's not really being targeted in a specific individual or group. It's just something that once it gets out there, it just goes out and does the grim work of making everybody think more like the kind of like new Babylon, like Newspeak dictionary type bullshit that, Orwell does or whatever. Like that kind of really heavy shit. Like I would more cherry pick like a few things that are that strong. Not really like a specifically crafted piece of CIA propaganda, but just incredibly powerful bullshit right-wing truisms, right? like stuff that if you live in a small town, it is practically true in your reality. It's reinforced by everything that happens around you, right?
Yeah, it's
Like,
what you subjectively experience. That's not, and like you can go like, well, that's clearly not true for the racist overtones. Yeah, okay, I agree, right? Because number one, they probably haven't. The number of interactions some of those people have with minorities is extremely low, and it's probably only been unpleasant because of them, right?
right.
Because it's not like they don't care. Minority, like the minority, what pick a group? They don't give a shit. They're not worried about you. They got fucking shit to do today, right?
Like I'm talking
But
about more like really cliche, really fucking okay. Uh, nobody's gonna help you. Slash, ain't no such thing as a free
well,
lunch. Slash,
okay,
give them an inch
okay,
and they'll take a mile. Like that type of shit. Like,
okay. But what feedback do they have? This is what I'm saying. Like take that attitude, right? What feedback does Louisiana have? The entire body of the media basically calls them R slurs and calls them
yeah,
savages and questions like openly on TV how they're not just swimming in their own sewage. And then like anytime something bad happens to them, the whole of the country is laughing at them. And the
right. Like
ones who
that
aren't
fucking
laughing at them are sending thoughts and prayers. So when you hear nobody's coming to help you, how in the fuck don't you internalize that? There's a
right.
feedback mechanism to internalize that.
Right.
Like,
Like it if it's proven true in your lifetime, then of course that's what you believe and it's what you're going to say to your kid.
yeah, like,
So the thing I wanted to say is that this discussion ties into two things that we've brought up in chat before. The first is like an element of like geographic determinism, and that MK Ultra, but it's the internet stuff. But before, and I really do think there is something to that theory. But before I get to that, I think that when it comes to why are the rates lower in Mississippi or Louisiana versus somewhere like New York or whatever. And the only comment that I want to have about this specifically is that I noticed that when we initially shut down, we really shut down. And I think the reason was that really did threaten everybody, including people who were very rich. And now that we have the vaccine, it's much less of a risk to people who are ultra rich. So
Also, a better understanding of it, like you don't die instantly, for example. Like when it was first
yeah.
going on, like if they thought instant death was outside, then of course they fucking slammed down the fucking castle gates and everything.
yeah.
And I think that now that we're at the stage where this isn't going to kill super rich people, we don't care anymore. And you know what? Now if you die of it, it is your fault. And we've decided that. All we had to do was get to the point where if you die, it's your fault. And
That's right,
everything
being
else
rich.
can be, yeah, and because that's it. When rich people could die of it, then we have to be very careful, and we all have like the social responsibility to each other, and like the cogs of industry all worked toward like solving the problem in some capacity. We really ramped up production of things. We really tried super hard. But now that rich people probably aren't going to die of it, it's your fucking fault if you die.
Right.
I don't think those things are coincidental. And of course, there is something to the fact that, you should get vaccinated. And look, if you saw those posts from the subreddit for nurses, yeah, it's gruesome. If you're not vaccinated and you go to the ICU, you just fucking die. That's what happens nowadays. Like you can read the firsthand. It's real bad, but that's what happens now.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, I think, is that on some level, people who are super rich, who do run this country, they're making fucking bank off of this, because I think if you think about it for a second, we probably all know somebody who has parents or grandparents that are super chuds about this, who are prone to die, or at least we've heard of a situation like this. Maybe we don't know them personally, but they're chuds, they're local barons, as they get called. They die, they pass it along to their kids. Their kids are drug addicts, they squander it. The place goes up for tax sale, the place goes up for something like that, right?
Yeah.
And or maybe that's not, maybe that narrative isn't 100% true, but pieces of it are. Enough of it is that the local baronry is in some way getting drained of whatever capital they have, and it's getting sucked upwards because the VC people buy it up somehow.
Yes. Like,
And
or just like raw trade to like all these firms that they own, right? Like, okay, the example I was thinking of today, like, okay, oh man, grandma died, and that's very sad, but I got all this money and I don't know what to do with it. So instead of hold on to it for a long time and spend it all in my area to like help this restaurant keep going or help this grocery store stay open, I'm gonna blow 600K in one weekend, turning my house into a TikTok house or a Twitch streamer house, and I'm going to start a career that way where not only is my income coming from everywhere else, but I've handed off, 10 or 20K to fucking Alienware and chairs and tables and all kinds of shit. Like, I could literally get on Amazon and turn myself into a Twitch streamer for some amount of raw capital that it took Gam Gam, 30 fucking years to break down some fucking factory for. Like, I could turn that into fucking computers and Funko Pops to do Twitch streaming with in one day.
Yeah.
And nobody in my town gets a penny of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that, I wouldn't say I wouldn't necessarily affirm the two things, but you have a dual pandemic going on as well with drug overdoses and the opiate crisis. Because before COVID, it was dipping. I think it peaked in like 2017 or 18 or something like that.
Right.
And that was supposed to be the end of it. And now the only thing you hear about it are like various settlements that like a dozen counties like settled with the Sacklers or whatever. This is the only news you hear about it nowadays. And so that's all you hear about it. But overdoses are up now. People who are addicted are up at this point since the peak in like 3 or 4 years ago. So you have dual pandemics going on, and they both work toward making rich people richer because it hollows out what it is, accelerating the trend of the middle class being hollowed out, or at the very least the local baronry, who make up a large section of who we would consider middle class in this country, because that word means whatever you feel like in a lot of ways. It doesn't mean no. I would not say it means nothing. I would say that it's a land of imagination that you fill in with your emotions.
Yes.
So nothing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But
well, as long as we agree that
Thanks
it's
for that
nothing but for
distinction,
different reasons.
The exchange rate between all ideas is equivalent, and everything is the same as everything. It's a marketplace of ideas where all ideas are valid and worth exactly the same amount.
But yeah, I just that's what I see happening, is just they're all dying, and it's not like just because they were chuds and you hated them or whatever, like all the half the homes in your neighborhood being owned by some fucking LLC, like that's not better. No one thinks that's better. So like that's what's happening. That's what's being drained slowly, and it's fucking.
As we've discussed
terrible.
on other episodes, the Stonks episode and probably many other episodes, if you have a bigger chunk of capital to start with, it becomes much more advantageous for you for there to be any predictable trend that exists. Like if you're, say, able to assume that a bunch of people are going to die, for instance, it becomes very easy to pick what socks to stick. Now, I can't take my check from the factory one week and go get rich off of BlackRock Capital because I know they're going to buy up a bunch of fucking empty McMansions in Florida. I can't do that.
Right.
But I would make some money, but a 1 or 2% rise because all of the village just fucking died driving their little golf carts or whatever. Like, I don't get what, say, a guy with, oh, I'm going to put a fucking $1 million on this shit. He's getting something significant, and that entire scenario is determined by him already having a big fucking hoard. Like, there's nothing that could be better for them than a predictable trend like this.
Yeah.
Like, you're sure that more motherfuckers are going to die.
Well, you're right.
And
I don't. What do you want me to say there? Yeah, they're banking
no
on
risk.
old people dying. If you really look at it, right, they're really like, I can't tell you how many old people I know who have been like, well, they said I couldn't get it, and I don't know how much of that. I don't know how much is true, right? I have to assume they're not all lying, which leads me to the conclusion that, like, oh, didn't the Biden administration put in a bunch of people who are like, you shouldn't live past 60?
Yeah,
Like, what
yeah,
is the prevailing attitude? Oh, it's eugenics. They're just trying to purge the old people, which is like,
yeah.
uh,
It's the
believable
new
enough.
frontier. The new frontier. We're out of country to steal. We're out of free land to give away. We don't have the rocket ships are not ready. So the new frontier is become a liquidator of dead people's belongings.
Yes.
Become that guy that lives in every small town that has the boots and the hat and shows up in the sports car and like an unmarried dude in his 50s that doubles as an auctioneer, like, and just hangs out in a fucking warehouse, and trucks pull up all day with shit from dead people's houses, and he's just like, how much for this, how much for that, for 18 hours a fucking day, and then he retires like 5 years later, a fucking multimillionaire. That's the new frontier, right?
Yeah, it's scooping from our dead. So what's the problem then? We don't have enough dead. Better fix it. Like,
Yeah.
it's gruesome as shit, but like I can't, again, before we get a ban for misinformation, I can't honestly prove that. But if you're gonna try to put the Emmanuels back in power, right? And you're surrounded by people who are in their 50s, who are just constantly talking shit on the elderly about how they're, essentially superfluous, who are trying to attack Social Security, and now we have this thing that will kill you if you're old, if you're not vaccinated. Um, all I'm saying is it wouldn't be out of the realm of suspicion. You can go, you're conspiracy, you're engaging in conspiracy theory. Yeah, I absolutely am, right? Like, I am definitely playing devil's advocate with the idea, but it's like, I'm not convinced that they're not telling those people they can't get vaccinated to try to weed a few more of them out. No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I really am not. Like, that just seems right because, like, you have this, a lot of people think, like, the government engineers these conspiracies, and look how many times they had to shoot at Kennedy to kill him. They're not good at it. Look at how many times they failed to kill Fidel Castro. The U.S. government's not actually good at anything but wholesale slaughter, right? How many years did it take to get Che Guevara? You know, to these aren't talented assassins. They're not good engineers of plots. They're rather dumb in this regard, but they know an opportunity when they see it.
Yeah.
So, 9/11, did they let those towers get attacked, or are they just a bunch of idiots who then, when the towers got attacked, went, well, how can we profit off of this? How can we bank off of this one?
Right,
I,
right.
I'm
It
inclined to say the latter.
regardless of any cultural reaction that they would say that they had to it, or that people would perceive that they had to it, regardless of any of that, whenever they're with their own kind, other people who stand to profit a great deal, that is all that they discussed. Like, they would never miss the chance. As soon as there weren't anybody that had any beliefs in anything or would stand on any principle, as soon as all those people were out of the room, that was the only thing they talked about was, oh man, can you believe that just fucking happened? This makes it where we can do so much shit that we wouldn't have been able to do yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's the core of it. It leads back to profit seeking as the norm, the required thing. Of course, if I don't do it, somebody's going to. So there's no
Yeah,
moral element to
There's an
this. I'm gonna
asteroid
profit
coming.
seek.
How do I profit?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If I
well,
don't sell asteroid proof armor, somebody's going to.
Right.
I mean, what it comes down to for me is that, like, on some level, do I think a lot of the people who like work in the government right now, like, maybe want this on like an abstract level to like go away? Do they want everyone to be vaccinated or whatever? Like, I think most of them do, but I think that, like, the conversation ends up being a lot of the time for people in power, like, okay, well, that's not happening. How do we make money? And how do we get to a point where we're going to make money?
Right.
And I think that's the ultimate goal, which is that they're like, they spent the public money, all the stuff shut down, all of the private businesses acted in many ways. And when I say this, the large corporations, they acted collectively to get us to the point where, again, this is what it is. If you die, it's your fault. like
Yeah.
that, or at least they can say that, they can claim that. And as long as that's the case, well, now that I've morally washed my hands of whatever social responsibility I have to people, how do I make money? And that's where we are. That's all it comes. That's all it comes down to. So
Till the
yeah,
next
do I think
inflation.
that, like for example, do I think that like if Joe Biden had a button to press and it like, made everybody who's not vaccinated be vaccinated, like would he press that button? Yeah. Do I think most people who like are in power right now, would they press that button? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But that's immaterial to reality to them, which is just that they've consigned the fact that they don't have any more power over the situation. So fuck it, we're gonna make bank.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There's no moral element to it anymore because it's happening and you have to respond to it. And in our country, under our assumed framework or whatever that most people have, the right response would be, well, let's make these lemons into lemonade. American entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is just they ended they ended their perceived social obligation when it wasn't threatening the machinery of how the market works.
Yeah.
Because we're enough past that at this point. And I mean, my only thing about that, and the only thing that really threatens this, I don't know what the solution to this is one of the things I would harp on a bunch was, a lot of this has to do with the fact that we can't, our hospital infrastructure can't handle this. And if our hospital structure could handle this, like what would be the different dynamic? But I think the truth of the matter is and that we found out here during this pandemic is, I don't know if we could ever like expand our hospital infrastructure enough to absorb this, because that's certainly not the route that we've gone down. Like we don't have this giant drive on any like nationalized level. Yeah, well, that's what it comes down to. We don't have this giant drive on like a national level to like hire more nurses. And is there like
even science fiction always takes a shortcut. Like there's no science fiction concept of currently existing medicine expanded to a level where it could take care of everybody. Like they always use a shortcut like, oh, we just clone like a whole organ now or whatever. And so none of these diseases matter because we just swap parts in and out of you forever. Like most authors that I've read are just like not even willing to, no, okay, if it's an ultra fascist society and this level of violence and fucking murder and genocide and plagues and shit, if it just continues to go on in the future, then the way they support that is, they just grow a whole baby in a tank and scrap him for parts. Like nobody ever is like, well, here's a five, there'd be like a one nurse in every town per like every 2 or 3 like old people. Like no, like there's Japanese horror sci-fi about not being able to take care of your old people and how bad it is, but there's nothing where it's like finally we decided to care for everyone.
No,
Because
I don't know.
they
It's just
recognize how unrealistic that is.
Yeah.
like I think that there's a cap on some level. Maybe this is wrong, but like, is there a cap on like, could you ever pay nurses enough that our nursing supply would actually go up to like a significant degree? I guess that number exists like in the abstract, but we're certainly not willing to explore that. Like
No.
nurses get paid well for the most part, but like, we didn't hit the button like as a nation. We didn't hit the button where we're like, we're just going to pay them an absurd amount because we really need them at this point. We decided not to press that button.
The reason they're not going to press that button is mass wage inflation.
Yeah.
They're not going to allow for inflation. That's an all
nurses.
Form. Yeah.
Yeah. Even nurses.
Yeah, because if the nurses are getting paid more, it's not hard to make the argument, why the hell ain't I making more money? Or I'll just quit and become a nurse. If you raise wages, all right, in any one field substantively so that people actually go to it instead of be deterred away from it, the problem you have then is you've set off a wage inflation spiral upwards. They are terrified.
Together, Burn.
Yeah, right. They're terrified. They are absolutely 110% terrified of inflation due to a shortage. What the
Yeah.
fuck do you think? How fucking terrified do you think they are of your wages going up? They literally fought tooth and nail to make sure the burger people's wages wouldn't go up, because then they'd have to, they'd either have to raise burgers to $8 a burger because they want to maintain their rate of profit, or B, they'd have to raise them 30 cents to compensate, and it would be revealed how big of a fucking scam they're running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
I
think they're
thought we
gonna?
all knew how big of a scam it was.
Well, yeah, we do, but they if
Or
you
that's
keep,
just
It'd
us.
be even more obvious.
yeah, you got to keep the lie going. So like,
You know what's wild? Right now, I just went and looked in the Twitch chat. Our regular viewers are actually not in the Twitch chat tonight. Are they out like getting drunk and partying and singing karaoke and like fucking each other and shit like normals on a Friday night?
probably
That's
let them
amazing.
go. You let them
Shout
go.
out. Shout out to chat. Big ups to chat
Yeah,
for not being in chat tonight.
I have no idea
You
who the
know,
hell would still bother watching at this point.
no, they
Yeah.
are. They decided to be normals this weekend and go have a big orgy instead of being nerds on the internet.
Yeah.
I
So,
applaud that.
all right. So we're hitting our hour mark here. I think we've done enough for this little star-studded special. I did want to pick your brain. We'll do it live. Fuck it. So you want to do an episode with what? Like you want to try to do that episode that got lost again? You want to try to do that, but you want to use our airspace?
We might. I don't know. It's up in the air. I've got a lot of ideas and concepts I've been fooling around with. There was one week when I was so mad and angry about having to work all week and being in South Carolina that I was gonna do like a whole little like documentary about a local pedophile. But I'm not sure. That might stay in the drafts. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff might stay in the drafts because even though things are consistently getting worse down here with no signs of stopping anytime soon, there have been like things that have encouraged me that made me feel like maybe I could get through it, personally. There have been like walkouts at work based on some of the bad treatment there, so that warmed my heart, because I'm too invested to do any really wild shit. Like I'm old, but seeing a bunch of 20-year-old kids that didn't need the job just moonwalk out of there, and then when asked by management where they were going, telling management that they were going to their house to fuck their wife. I really enjoyed seeing that.
It's heartwarming.
It's the perfect thing to say because that motherfucker's not leaving work.
Yeah, he's stuck there.
They totally could pay a probably would be very warmly welcomed house call to his lonely wife, who never sees him because he likes to live in a factory for 90 hours a week and abuse his lessers, and try to fuck everybody at the factory. His wife would probably be very pleased when the young, healthy, and still warm blood in their veins former logistics associate, visited her address. So it was really the perfect thing to say. It warmed my heart. I cried a little. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say that on air. When I saw people walking out of this dog shit job and saying the hurtful things to management, I had to excuse myself. So maybe less dark content from me going forward. I don't know.
But you're the true horror.
Yeah.
I know.
Listen, we all
I
get
was so
visited
excited to hear that you. I was so excited to hear that you got to see that. That sounds awesome.
Well,
That sounds so cool.
it was very, very cool. The rest of the day, they have that window, like the way that the old factories are built. They have a little tiny room where they hang out, and it has these windows where you can see the floor. It's usually in a high location. So it's like this eye of God that looks down upon you. And your typical relationship with it is if you're in view of it, you're like sort of looking over the corner of your shoulder to try to see if they're looking at you right that second, but you're trying not to be real obvious about it. But that day, it was like a TV show because you could look up there and you could see paunchy, middle-aged white men that more and more were beginning to resemble like hairless pigs bred in some kind of genetic breeding farm, You could see them up in there, like screaming at each other
I
and like
got
pointing at the
I
floor.
gotta ask, what in the fuck does any of this have to do with scheduling skirt and dick proles?
Well, we still need to do some work on the ground on that.
Okay. I'm
I
sorry,
gotta do
man. I'm
some.
like
I
trying
gotta.
to end the show, and I'm like trying to, and you're like, I gotta be honest with you, man. You went into a completely fucking different direction.
Those guys are out with our viewers right now, partying and having a normal Friday night.
Yeah,
I gotta make different inroads on the ground to convince those guys to come around here on a Friday night, and I respect that.
yeah,
I respect that they enjoy like living real life outside of the pleasure of the ethereal dimension of a Discord channel. I appreciate that they like that, but I've got to reel them over to the dark side a little more. Like, hey, that thing that you do sometimes for fun, but not when you could be having fun in real life.
yeah.
What if you did it Friday night with us? Like, I gotta find
You
like some
can,
ground.
as long as I mean, you can use it for this purpose. You just have to, yeah, you just kind of have to figure out what night you want to do it. You can fire up a stream any night of the week. Really, so can I. I stay up till midnight. It's if you want to do it in the middle of the day or some shit where I'm like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah, that's what we were trying to do before. We have one in progress. Attention to any viewers that listen to both shows. We have one in progress, which is still tentatively coming soon. Because we've been having all this different. But I'm encouraged when I hear even really big podcasts post stuff that's like half of a file. Like, I'll feel bad about stuff like that. Like, we've lost good stuff that we've done over here too in the past. Like, and I'll feel bad about it. But then I'll hear even really big shows just be like, here's half of a thing. And I feel better about it. I like being in this space, creatively speaking, compared to a lot of very serious autistic disciplines that I've pursued in the past.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Good. Well, all right. Yeah. I mean, work on it. Like I said, next week we got a guest, but after that, like, look, it's not like most of us wouldn't appreciate a Friday off. So if you put something together, you know, fucking do it.
I maybe will put something together that is more positive than I have been in the past, and also less paranoid about using a flag emoji all the time. I
Okay.
maybe
Whoa,
will
whoa,
do
whoa,
that.
whoa! Let's not get crazy.
Well,
What
well,
flag?
well. I ever since I got back online in a ceremonial fashion after like a decade or more of just being offline and like playing lots of video games and like getting all kinds of pussy and like being at all the parties and like doing all the cool guy stuff and wearing all the cool clothes and driving all the cool cars and ghost riding the two cool cars at the same time with leather belts tied to each steering wheel and standing in both of them ever since I got done
Uh,
doing all of that stuff.
all right.
And I
Yeah.
ceremonially got back online.
We're not
Uh,
looking. I gotta warn you. We're not looking for filler now. Slow down. Slow down. You like to shoot your shot at the worst possible time, man. You're like, the game started. Better try to hit this 3-pointer from half court.
No. Ever since I ceremonially got back online, I've used the same flag emoji
Yeah.
because I wanted that to be my one proffered piece of personal information. I am a person who lives in South Carolina, and I'm trying to be less paranoid and defensive about things than that going forward. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, don't be. No state's good, but all right. Yeah. Anybody else got anything they want to plug?
No.
Me?
You want me to plug you?
No.
Oh.
Well,
You,
maybe next time. Do I have to go to the HR corner still?
no, you're done now.
All right, fair enough.
Every weird text I get though, you're gonna get a paddling.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's paddling.
Yeah, that's a paddling. All right. Well, I love you. Don't die from COVID. Please don't. We need
Please
you.
don't get vaccinated. It's good for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Statistically.
statistically speaking, it is in your favor. It is in your benefit to get vaccinated. And for the love of fuck, don't say like it's weird that the unvaccinated people aren't dying because yes, that's how vaccines work. Good for you.
Please be smarter
Yeah.
than the average person.
I mean, come on. That
The
no,
bar's so low.
none of us
The
care.
bar's so low.
None of us care if you disagree with liberalism, but that's the point. Oh, the guy with the seatbelt survived the low to mid impact car accident. Well, that's suspicious. Yeah, it's not though.
Seatbelts keep causing people to die in car accidents.
Whoa, that gazelle with legs outran that lion.
Oh, the guy who wasn't shot today wasn't shot today. Weird.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. Good night.
Night.